Jerome Wilson was 47 years old and looked every bit the successful businessman he was. His sharp suits and confident walk told the story of someone who had built his hotel empire from nothing, becoming a millionaire through 25 years of hard work and determination. But today was different. Instead of his usual designer suit, he wore casual clothes, jeans, a simple shirt, and comfortable shoes. He looked like any other guest checking into one of his luxury hotels. The reason for his undercover visit wasn't random. For the past 3 months, troubling reports had been landing on his desk. Guests were complaining about missing reservations, rude service, and feeling unwelcome. Some said they felt discriminated against, while others mentioned their bookings mysteriously disappeared. At first, Jerome had trusted his managers to handle it, but when the complaints kept coming, he knew he needed to see for himself what was really happening in his hotels. The lobby of his flagship hotel was exactly as he remembered: marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and elegant furniture. Everything looked perfect, except for one thing: the young woman at the front desk, Kim, who was completely absorbed in her phone. Her long nails tapped against the screen as she scrolled, ignoring everything around her. Jerome stood there for nearly 5 minutes, watching as she ignored not just him, but other guests too. Some gave up and walked away, while others shifted uncomfortably, unsure what to do. Finally, Jerome cleared his throat. Nothing. He tapped on the counter. Still nothing. When he tapped again, louder this time, Kim let out an exaggerated sigh that spoke volumes about her attitude. She slowly dragged her eyes away from her phone, looking at Jerome like he was something unpleasant she'd found on her shoe. "Yeah," she muttered, not even bothering to sit up straight. "I have a reservation," Jerome said politely, maintaining his calm despite his growing anger. "Under Jerome Wilson." Kim's fingers moved lazily across her keyboard, her expression bored. "Yeah, don't see it," she said, already reaching for her phone again. The dismissal was clear. She was done with this conversation. But Jerome wasn't. He pulled out his phone and showed her his confirmation email. "I have it right here. Confirmed 3 days ago." Kim barely glanced at his screen. "Well," she said with a smirk, "the system doesn't lie." The implication was clear. She thought he was lying. What Kim didn't know was that Jerome had a second phone, one with full access to the hotel's internal systems. As she went back to scrolling on her phone, he quickly pulled up the reservation logs. There it was. His booking had been in the system, but Kim had manually deleted it just minutes before he arrived. This wasn't a mistake or a glitch. It was deliberate. Jerome decided to push further. "Tell me something, Kim," he said, keeping his voice steady. "What happens when a reservation is deleted?" She shrugged, not even looking up. "It's removed. No big deal." "And who can do that? Delete reservations?" "Only front desk staff," she answered, a hint of pride in her voice. Jerome turned his screen toward her, showing the internal log. "Reservation number 2847. Deleted by Kim Matthews, front desk clerk." The color drained from her face as she realized she'd been caught in her lie. When Kim tried to stammer out an excuse, Jerome cut her off. She quickly tried to recover by offering him a room 1427, which Jerome knew was the worst room in the hotel. It was next to noisy elevators, shared a wall with the maintenance closet, where staff started work at 5 a.m., and had a perfect view of the dumpsters. This was her way of punishing difficult guests. Instead of going to the room, Jerome went straight to his laptop. Over the next hour, he dug through every complaint, every incident report, and every customer review from the past year. Kim's name appeared over and over, reservations mysteriously deleted, guests being told the hotel was full when it wasn't, complaints about her attitude, and reports of selective treatment. The pattern was clear. She was systematically discriminating against certain guests. But what made Jerome even angrier was that her manager, Stephen Lane, had known about all of this. There were dozens of documented complaints about Kim, but Stephen had done nothing. He was the type of manager who valued peace over progress, ignoring problems instead of solving them. Jerome marched to Stephen's office, his patience exhausted. The manager's face went white when he saw who had just walked in. "Mr. Wilson, what a surprise!" "Save it, Stephen," Jerome cut him off. "We need to talk about your front desk clerk." Over the next few minutes, Stephen stammered through excuses about being short-staffed and not wanting to cause trouble. Jerome listened to none of it. "Fire her," he said simply, "right now, in front of everyone." The scene in the lobby was dramatic. Kim argued, cried, and tried to blame the system, other staff, even the guests themselves. But as security escorted her out, she still had no idea that the guest she'd dismissed so rudely was actually the owner of the entire hotel chain. Her final glare promised revenge, but Jerome knew she'd never work in any of his hotels again. Later that night, standing in the presidential suite he'd moved himself to, Jerome looked down at the hotel entrance. Kim was gone, and Stephen would be following her soon. But the problem was bigger than just two employees. Somewhere along the way, while he was busy expanding his empire, he'd lost touch with what was happening on the ground floor. He'd trusted reports and statistics instead of seeing things for himself. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Board members, other managers, HR directors, all wanting to know what was happening. Jerome ignored them all. Instead, he opened his laptop and started drafting a new company-wide policy. Every complaint would be reviewed personally. Every employee would be evaluated. Training would be overhauled. Most importantly, there would be zero tolerance for discriminatory behavior or poor service. As he worked through the night, Jerome reflected on how easy it is to build something, but how hard it is to maintain its standards. He'd spent years creating luxury hotels, but he'd forgotten that true luxury isn't just about marble floors and fancy furnishings. It's about how you make people feel when they walk through your doors. The next morning, Jerome called an emergency meeting of all hotel managers. He shared his experience, not as a warning, but as a wake-up call. "We're not just in the hotel business," he told them. "We're in the business of making people feel welcome, valued, and respected. Anyone who can't do that has no place in this company." In the months that followed, Jerome's hotels saw a complete transformation. He implemented mystery guest programs, personally reviewed customer feedback, and made sure every employee understood that their job wasn't just about providing a service. It was about creating an experience where every guest felt like a VIP. The story of Jerome Wilson's undercover visit became a legend in the hotel industry, a reminder that success isn't just about building an empire. It's about making sure that empire treats everyone with dignity and respect. It shows that sometimes the best way to lead is to step down from your office and see things through your customers' eyes. Most importantly, it proves that no matter how big your business grows, you should never lose touch with the small details that make it truly great.